Hey RPG Brigade and the rest of the RPG community at large, rhaegar here for another video. In this video, I'd like to talk about a campaign idea I've had for a while. Now, this may have been done before, and I'm not claiming to be the one true originator of all that is, RPG wise. So if it's been out there before, I didn't know about it. But here it is. My idea is to take two groups of players and plug them into the same story. So basically, you're running two smallish, I won't say this campaign's running too long, more campaigns, and have them plugged into the same story. Here's how it works. One group plays one faction, and the other group plays the other. And their actions feed into each other's campaigns, storylines, right? So it's the same overarching story, but their actions sort of colour it in a sense. Cool ways you can do this is you can have one group of players in a fantasy setting or a sci-fi setting, say, on the run for committing a murder. Well, being accused of committing a murder, right? One group of players is on the run trying to prove their innocence and, trying to set things right. Now the other players in the other team, they play the law enforcement officers, right? They play the guys who are hunting down this group of villainous bad guys who have committed these crimes. They're trying to right the wrongs and save the city, town, spaceship, the idea is this can be applicable to all kinds of areas, this campaign concept. And what this does, I think, is by doing something like that, is it gives you a lot, it's like having your own team of NPCs that are constantly giving you ideas for the other game, I mean, obviously, I don't think both games would perfectly align. You have to do some, kind of smoothing effect between the two to make sure everything fits right. But I think it's a really interesting idea because you could, what is more interesting than having a faction of wizards, say, who are trying to control a city, and that would actually be the players, and they are acting that out, and they are, filling those roles of life, as it were. And then you've got another team who are trying to beat these guys, who have found these wizards as tyrants, as downtrodden of the common people, and they want to uprise and smack them about, I really like this idea. I call it the two players, one story, a million possibilities kind of concept. You could use this all over the place, and it gives you a kind of backstory, a bit of reactivity, because obviously between as the sessions go on, they're giving you a lot of information, a lot of story feedback of how you can plug it into the other game. Of what those, say it was a hunter and a hunted kind of situation. Where my original example, that gives you a lot of ideas what those law enforcers would do in the background, try to track these people, and you could have them. You could have certain things they do turn up in the games. They send, say the hunted people set up a trap. They get stuck in a building. They set up a trap because then you're a law enforcer right behind, and then you can have in the other game these guys, these players go into this building, clue up their head, and they spring that trap. Kind of thing. I really like that kind of idea of having, two different groups feeding into each other. I mean, you could tell the players you're doing this, and that would be an interesting way of, kind of having a multiplayer experience almost. But then you could not tell them, and it'd be quite an interesting social experiment to see how each group of players react to the others' kind of tactics and tricks. This is sort of inspired by a video game I played. A lot of my inspirations come from movies and books and video games I play a lot. It comes from a video game called Farenheight, also known as the Indigo Prophecy in some countries, whereas you as a player played as both the copper trying to catch a killer and the alleged killer, and how your actions as each affected each other, and it made, you know, your sense of control seem all the more potent, you know, because you saw the consequences of what you did in the last scene. So I found that a really interesting, you know, tool as a GM as well, because then I've got these NPCs which are essentially taking care of themselves. Of course, the downside is if they completely go in opposite directions, it could be a bit problematic and cause you more pain than it's worth. But I think it's worth a try at some point. So let me know what you think, guys. I really like this idea. Until next time.